Once upon a time, in a village called Amanko, there lived a woman named Ogechi. Ogechi was the fattest woman in Amanko village. Her round face always had a smile, her laughter boomed louder than thunder, and her body jiggled like jelly when she danced. But finding a husband was hard for any woman of Ogechi's size. The men said a woman must be slim and graceful. Ogechi tried to lose the weight, fasting from the delicious fufu her mama made. But she always snuck extra pieces of yam when no one was looking. The more she dieted, the hungrier she felt. And the hungrier she felt, the more delicious yams called to her. Her willpower shriveled and her belly grew rounder. When the rains came, Ogechi planted rows of maize, bending as best she could under the hot sun. But the rows came out crooked, and she kept falling on her behind in the mud. At the stream one day, scrubbing the dye out of raffia skirts, Ogechi heard two women chatting about Chinyere's upcoming wedding. She splashed them by accident while washing the raffia. "Ah, be careful," one woman cried. "It is only water," Ogechi said. The woman whispered with raised eyebrows. Ogechi sighed and focused on her work. Why was there no man in Amanko willing to marry her? "It is because you are shaped like an uber keg of pine wine," her friend Obiageli told her. This did not help Ogechi feel any better about herself. But she had no choice except to hope that someday a man will see the beauty in her heart. The festival came when all the maidens in the village danced bare-breasted, proudly displaying their beauty to attract a husband. Ogechi wore a raffia skirt that showed off her chunky legs and the cowrie shells jiggling around her fleshy waist. She joined in the dances while the drums pounded feverishly. But the men only had eyes for the slender Amaka. "Why do you bother?" asked the bitter widow Nneka. "No man will ever marry you looking the way you do." Nneka's scornful words only made Ogechi feel worse. At night, she cried into her pillow, fearing she would never find a husband. Where had she gone wrong for the gods to curse her with a body that drew no suitors? With no husband, she would have to spend her life toiling in the fields for her father, dependent on him like a child. The next week, tragedy struck. Food poisoning from the festival killed Ogechi's parents, leaving her orphaned. She fell to her knees and wept. With no family left, Ogechi had built her own hut at the edge of the village. Villagers whispered that she would never find a husband now that she had no bride price. Others called her cursed and said her parents' death was punishment for her laziness and greed. Their cruelty broke Ogechi's heart. One day, the village beauty Amaka came to Ogechi's hut, begging her to ask the gods for fertility. "My husband Obika and I have tried for many moons to have a baby," Amaka said. "Surely as a woman you can pray to the goddess Allah for me." Bitterness flooded Ogechi's heart that even beautiful Amaka knew desperation when it came to bearing children. But she could not refuse the request. That night, Ogechi went into the sacred grove and offered a kola nut to Allah, praying for Amaka to have a child. The next week, Amaka sent word that she was pregnant with twins. Ogechi rejoiced, yet wondered why the goddess had never answered her prayers to find a husband. What more could she do to please Allah? When Ogechi was not working, she often helped take care of village children. Their little hands and smiling eyes comforted her lonely heart. She loved telling them folk tales and giving them extra sweet potatoes from her garden. One small boy named Ekene took to following Ogechi around everywhere. He reminded her of a little lost chick, always underfoot, but she never minded. One day, Ekene slipped from a tree he had climbed after she told him to get down. He hit his head hard on a rock as he fell. Sobbing, Ogechi gathered his limp body in her arms and begged Allah to save him. Miraculously, Ekene survived as he healed over the following weeks. Ogechi stayed constantly at his side. Though she had no child of her own, the maternal affection she felt for him swelled her heart to bursting. The day Ekene walked again, he wrapped his arms around Ogechi's wide waist and called her Mama. Joy overwhelmed her, dampening her eyes with tears. But Ekene's parents arrived and pulled him away, scolding him for speaking to Ogechi with such familiar words. When they called her cursed and evil, she fled into the forest to weep. She did not understand why others looked down on her for things she could not change. Clutching an ivory statue of Allah, she asked the goddess why she had made her the way she was. No answer came, but the eyes of the statue glowed, sending warmth through Ogechi's hands. Instantly, she knew she had not been cursed, but specially chosen for her big loving heart. For years, the men of Amankwo continued chasing after lit and beautiful women. Ogechi remained happily unmarried as she raised goats, grew her garden, and sold the best oven-baked yam pies at the market. Being full-figured never kept coins from her purse, but whispers continued among the villagers. Who thought a woman that is not married for so long must be barren? How else to explain why no man had made a bride price offer for one as fecund and prosperous as Ogechi? The women, too, grew spiteful of Ogechi as they competed every season to grow the fattest yams and thresh the most rice. Yet Ogechi's granary overflowed with an abundance she did not share. You must have buried a fertility fetish to raise such fine crops, jealous wife insisted. But Ogechi shared none of her farming secrets. She remained cheerful and friendly, trying not to let their spite dampen her happiness. Until the year fate tested her again. A deadly fever swept through Amankwo, felling person after person for many weeks. Fearing to catch the sickness, Ogechi remained inside her hut and lived off her stored yams. She only emerged to draw water from the creek pre-drawn when nobody roamed outside. One morning, at the creek, she discovered a small boy lying unconscious, burning with fever. It was Ekene. Fearing he would die abandoned, she carried the boy back to her hut, though he felt heavier than a heaping basket of mangoes. She did not care if she caught the fever too. Maternal love seared through her heart. For days and nights, Ogechi stayed by Ekene's side, cradling him to her breast, trickling water through his cracked lips. She dripped goat's milk into his mouth and held steaming millet porridge beneath his nose, hoping the scent would revive him. Gradually, Ekene's fever broke. When he came to Ogechi, she wept with relief, thanking Allah. Surely this was her purpose. She had been made big and strong to give comfort and nurturing in times of crisis just like now. As Ekene's parents had always disliked her, Ogechi pleaded with them to let Ekene remain with her until he regained full strength. After all, she had saved their son. But they ignored her and dragged Ekene away, warning Ogechi never to speak to him again. Weary to her bones and sickened by people's cruelty, Ogechi wondered if she should remain living among those in Amankwo when nobody accepted her. She no longer felt obliged to stay and share her agricultural abundance with them. So she packed up her hut and farm tools and departed the village forever. Ogechi journeyed far, searching for a new home. Many miles away, she came across an isolated hut beside a vineyard. Its inhabitant had died years ago, leaving it abandoned. Determined to occupy the vacant hut and plant her own grapevines, Ogechi settled into the lonely place. Birds chirped in the banana trees. Goats grazed on wild bush, and a brook full of tasty minnows gurgled nearby. She decided staying here alone was better than facing rejection among hateful people. On her first trip to sell crops at a distant market, Ogechi heard villagers whispering about a monster that had moved into the abandoned hut and chased away anyone who came near. They called it the Wine Woman, after it was spotted wandering the wild vineyard beside the hut. Frightened by rumors, some villagers grabbed machetes and torches and went to confront the Wine Woman. But when they arrived at the hut, they only found Ogechi, peacefully weaving baskets outside while a pot of soup bubbled over the fire. The villagers laughed when they realized the terrifying Wine Woman was just a lonely, overweight woman. But an elder named Chidiike stepped forward and silenced the laughter. "Why do you mock this woman?" he chided. "Did not the gods make her as she is for a purpose? Perhaps we are too blind to see." The villagers shrugged their feet, ashamed but uncertain. Chidike turned to Ogechi. "Sister, forgive our foolishness," he said. "We should not judge you for your size or solitude. Please, will you share your story with us?" That night, Ogechi told the villagers about her life, the poverty after her parents died, the cruelty of those in Amankwo, her friendship with little Ekene. Many eyes glistened with tears to hear of her struggles. "Truly, you have endured much hardship because of people's thoughtlessness," Chidike said finally. "Yet you did not grow bitter. You continued loving and giving. The gods must have made you big in size and heart for a reason." "Yes, so I could comfort little Ekene when he was sick," Ogechi said. Chidike rested his hands on her shoulder. "And perhaps for the same reason you now comfort us, by opening our eyes to the foolishness of judging others." He turned to the group. "From now on, let Ogechi be considered a wise village elder, for her kind and accepting nature shows the virtue we must all strive for." The villagers knelt and bowed before Ogechi in respect. At last, she had found a home among those who accepted her, and the villagers learned compassion from the remarkable woman once mocked as the wine woman, but now revealed as the goddess in disguise, testing the depths of their mercy.